Oh, here we are, back again in the kitchen. The same kitchen as ever, but today we're going to make some burgers, veg burgers. So I don't really like bean burgers, total bean burgers, so I've come up with this little recipe for myself that I've made a few times. And what I do is I combine spicy potato with chickpeas and some other spices, and I make little patties and we put them in a bun, and we nick a few ideas off McDonald's with a few rings of onion and tomato and so forth. Before we start, I want to give a little shout out to Eileen, who lives up the road, our neighbour, because she made the bread rolls so we could actually do this video. She could have been a bit contender, old Eileen. There was a rumour at one point that she was going to be the on the Great British Bake Off, but Mary Berry at the last minute, she used her mafia connections to muscle Eileen out and took the job herself. So it could have been very different for Eileen. But anyway, thank you, Eileen. Fully appreciated. Anyway, let's get started. So what we've got on here, we've got some chickpeas, some partially cooked potatoes. They're almost cooked, but not quite, because they're going to go back in the pan. We've got some mixed seeds. I've used jeera, mustard seeds, some crushed coriander seed, and a few ajwain seeds. Take it easy on the ajwain seeds because they're a little bit strong tasting. We've got some finely chopped onion and some finely chopped garlic. Beautifully done by Savannah and arranged.
Thank you, Steve.
It's all right, you know, credit where credit's due. Sorry about any noise in the background. We've had a few dogs barking and that, and there's usually a little crowd of girls cheering because I'm on, but just trying to
That's funny.
Anyway, let's get going. I'm a little bit phased today, as you might tell from my demeanour. I've been painting today with enamel paints, and I've got a few too many fumes, I think, but we'll press on because I'm a little trooper. Right, so all I'm going to do now is heat a little oil in the pan. Now you don't want too much oil, obviously, because it's just to cook out the spices and the potato and the chickpeas. So what we're going to do is chuck those in there when it's warm, and when they're fully cooked, we're going to mash them with a fork, and then we're going to switch you off and just leave them to cool down so that we can make them into patties for the burger. So just bear with me. Anyway, oil's heating up. And we'll just leave it a little while. So, okay, so we've switched you off there for a minute just while the oil heated up, and it's nice and hot now. So I'm going to chuck these seeds in. I think we've probably got a few too many here, but that'll probably do us. You can see the oil's nice and hot. It's popping and banging. That's releasing all their flavours into the oil. Let's just turn it a bit. This cooker's a little bit of a pain as it goes because it's got a kind of on-off and there's nothing in between. So every time you try and adjust it, either goes out or goes mad. But anyway, I've managed it. So next into the pan will be the onion and garlic.
Steve, be careful of the pan.
It won't need very long because it's very small. I think Savannah's given me a health and safety check here. See, what you find in this kitchen is nothing's quite perfect. Like the cooker's slightly sloppy, the gas doesn't work properly, the pan slides up and down. But it's all the fun of cooking, isn't it? Wherever you are in the world. Right, that's kind of just beginning to soften. They're not fully cooked yet, but it's going to get some more once the potatoes and things are in. So I'm going to press ahead with that. What we've been trying to do in these last few videos, because we've only got a few days to make these videos, we're trying to keep things quite simple, things that anybody can make at home, even people who don't really do much cooking. I mean, anyone can boil a few potatoes and open a can of chickpeas if you can't be bothered to soak them. So, right, all we're doing here is just softening stuff up. And because I don't really like to fry too much, I'm doing it quite dry at the moment. It should be fine, but it means I have to keep things moving so they don't stick to the pan. It's quite nice to get a few little crispy bits and pieces going on anyway. It just adds to the texture and Some people love that slightly charred taste as well.
It's me.
It's you, yeah. So I've just put a little bit of salt in there. We tend to use pink salt. I find it a bit more healthy and a bit tastier than that horrible processed stuff. Now, sometimes when I make these, I'll add a bit of chilli and all of that stuff in there, but what we've done is we've made some condiments that contain the chilli and all of those things, which we'll explain to you in the next segment. Basically, at the moment, we're just cooking these. Once they're soft, I'm going to mash them with a fork, make a kind of mash out of them, and I'm going to leave that to cool, and then we're going to come back and make patties and cook them later. So that's probably enough for now. I mean, it's not rocket science, is it? We've thrown a few chickpeas and some potato beans in a pan and let them cook for a minute. So we'll switch you off now and cool off and everything, and then we're back to you in a minute to show you what to do next. Here, if you zoom in on this is what came out of the pan. So you remember we were cooking chickpeas and potato with some spices, and there's a bit of salt in there, there's a few odds and sods. So that's been cooling for a minute or two. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to roll a burger, make a patty out of it. We're going to cook one just to show the process of cooking, and then probably switch you off again for a minute, and then come back when they're all rolled, and I'll show you how to assemble the burgers that we're going to make. Okay, so let's just get on with it. This is, I do all this by hand. I mean, I like handling food anyway. I think it's an added part of the joy. So take enough in your hand to make you want a burger that will match the bun you're going to use. Because you obviously don't want a massive bun and a tiny little burger in the middle. You want them approximately the same size. Because visually it looks nicer, and actually you get a bit of burger in each mouthful. So hoping these are going to hold together, because we've left, what I like to do is keep some large pieces in, like some little bits of chickpeas, some little bits of potato, not make it completely mashed, because it's quite nice in your mouth when you're eating it to have a bit of texture. So anyway, there's your burger, or patty, whatever you want to call it, and I'm just going to roll that. This is a mixture of oats and rawa, which is semolina flour, and I think it's got a little bit of turmeric in it just for colour, and a pinch of salt. Now if you haven't got any rawa, you can use other things, obviously corn flour or anything that you would use at home, panko crumb, bread crumb, whatever. All it's for is just to hold the burger together and give it a nice crispy coating. So there we are. Hopefully
check the pan.
If got to check the pan. Now when I check the oil, what I tend to do is I'll put a tiny bit of the mixture into the hot oil. If it's ready, it will go immediately to the surface and start frying. So that's not quite ready. It is cooking, but you want it crisp, because if you cook it crispy straight away, you're sealing the burger, you're not sucking too much of the oil in. So we'll give that an extra 30 seconds. So we're taking a little piece and we're going to drop it in there. That's pretty much there, I'd say, wouldn't you, Savannah?
Yes. A little 2 minutes or something.
Yeah, give it a second. It's worth making the effort to get it right and not get impatient and put it in too soon, because what will happen is all the oil will suck out the pan into your patties and you'll have like soggy, oily burgers. So it is worth giving it that little extra time. We're actually shallow frying today. You could use more oil, but I tend to try and keep it down to a minimum. So here we are with a burger. Let's drop it in there. And you see how that's cooking now? Immediately cooking. So that will seal the under half. And then we'll flip it over. Doesn't need long. Couple of minutes each side. So everything's actually cooked already. This is just to crisp up the raw and the oats. Give it a nice crunchy coating. Anyway, let's have a...
Be careful, Steve. We need you for the further videos.
Yeah, she just needs me for the cooking. That's pretty much it. So I'm going to cook that until it's crispy on both sides. We'll take him out and carry on. We'll probably do them in batches, and then I'll come back to you and show you how we're going to assemble these burgers. It'll be a big stack like that with bits coming out of it. Anyway, look forward to it. See you in a minute. Right, so here we are again, and we've cooked some of the burgers. I'm going to do a few more later. It's a bit too hot to cook many at the moment, so we just cooked a couple so I can show you how we're going to put them together. Here we have Eileen's buns that she's made for us, and I've lightly toasted those just on a towel either side, just to give them a bit of a crispiness and nicer. So this is a selection of things I like to use. Obviously you can put anything in there that you like. Some people don't like tomatoes, some people don't like onion, whatever. So I've pickled some cucumber slices. I used some vinegar, chilli, ginger and garlic, and I blended it into a liquid, and I soaked those in it for an hour or so. It's just to represent gherkins, which we'd use in the UK, obviously. Similar sort of spicy, but you can leave that out if you don't like, or use raw cucumber. So all I'm going to do is put some of my, these are, as I say, these are my things I like. You could put melted cheese on, you could do whatever you want. We don't actually have anything like that, so we're making do with what we've got. So I've put a little bit of this. This was homemade tomato sauce, by the way. It's got some chilli in it and a few other bits and pieces just to spice it up a little bit. So I'm just going to put a couple of bits of gherkin. I'm going to put a piece of tomato and put one of my patties on the top. A couple of rings of onion. And the last thing I'm going to do, which I doubt many people would do, but I'm going to, is put a little bit of pickle on there, just to give it a bit of a zing. This is Kerala pickle.
Karela, bitter gourd.
I'm never going to pronounce that properly. Say it once more.
Karela.
Kerala.
Yeah.
That sounds Italian when I say it. But anyway, bitter gourd pickle. So I'm just going to put a little bit on the top of the bun like that. And there we have a nice little veggie, chickpea and potato spicy burger.
And zoom in.
So anyway, I'm going to assemble the rest and we're going to have those for dinner now. Stick a picture on and I'll put maybe a list of ingredients on the YouTube when we post it. Anyway, I hope I haven't been too much of a twit this evening, as I say I'm feeling a bit weird. But anyway, take care. Bye.
Bye-bye.